What is going on, fellas? And welcome back to Hungary for Success with me, FoggyPlays, on FM21. Today, we're taking on Ferencváros in the league, and we're taking on Sevilla in the business end of the Europa League season. Second knockout round, second leg, because we've already played them in the first leg, because I didn't want to put two games against Sevilla in this one in case they were an absolute smash and grab. So, we are looking pretty good to win the league, potentially on for a triple. Could we do the treble? Oh, if we could do the treble this year, I would. But if you do want to enjoy this episode, do make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Now let's get into the video. Right, guys, so as you can see from the screen in front of you, from the fixtures, since you were here last, we've only played two games. One against MTK, which we won 3-1. Fairly comfortable, has to be said. Not much really happened. And then against Sevilla, we kind of did a job. There was very few highlights in the game, but we did what was needed. We won 2-0, both goals coming in the first 20 minutes, and then we just kind of sat there. Neither team really did a huge amount. Sevilla were playing a relatively defensive formation. They were away, so it kind of makes sense. But as you can see, Kubista played a 6.1, which was not very good. And Carlsberg actually managed to get himself a goal, which was quite nice. So league-wise, we are sitting comfortably atop the division, 17 points clear of Oish Pest. So not much has happened, like I said, since we were here last. We haven't played one league game. We do have the same league games played as them, though. So it's all looking pretty okay. If we win against Ferencváros, we pull 3 points further clear of them. It'll be a full 20 points. And I think we'd be guaranteed top 4 at that stage. As it is right now, we're guaranteed top 6. I would imagine we're going to be able to kind of pull a little bit further away. Actually haven't selected my starting 11. So we're going to do this together. Perez is going to start in goal. Bartek is going to start at right back. Mayer is going to start at left back because he isn't able to play in the Europa League. Barreto is going to start alongside Bourdais. In the Mazzella position, we're going to start O'Neill. Alongside him, we're going to have Diaz, or Wonder Kid. On the wing, we're going to start Savic. On the left, we are going to... Gilmer's 3.5 star potential now. But Carlsberg's going to be the one to start on the left. Fucus up front alongside... No, actually, Fucus is going to play as the complete forward because Mandira is going to play as the advanced forward. Do I want to start Carlsberg? No, we're going to put Mary out in the wing because I need Carlsberg fit and ready to play in the Europa League because I don't want him to be exhausted for a very important game. Gilmer is going to sit on the bench as well. I'm going to drop Carlsberg in there. Johansson. And we don't actually... Okay, so Carlsberg, you can go there because I have everything set kind of the way I want it. We do have a couple of injuries, which is somewhat unfortunate. Kwasi can sit in the bench. So like Zamorano is quite tired. Medina is recovering from his injury. Katarik picked up an injury just recently, and Grodem has also picked up an injury. So that's not ideal. Picked that up a slight injury against Sevilla. Didn't come up and say like, oh, he needs to come off right now. It was kind of like if you want to take him off, you can. You don't have to. And then the next day it was like, yeah, you probably should have taken him off. So we're going to say, I fully expect our run to continue. The lads don't really care, but we're just going to point our finger at them, and they all seem happy with that. We're going to skip the pre-game walking onto the pitch because nobody has time for that. Let's get into it. Let's get going. The first leg against Sevilla was quite a tight affair. Both teams were very even for the first half, especially. In the second half, I think Sevilla kind of edged it a little bit. We had slightly better XG, but I'm guessing one of Baturina was offside, blocking the goalkeeper. I would imagine, or did they take a touch off him? Not just blocking the goalkeeper. Yeah, for the first game against Sevilla, it was very, very close. Like I think there was one shot between the two teams for like the entire game. We had a slightly higher XG, obviously because we scored 2 goals. O'Neill is through, cuts it back, and it John O'Shea everywhere, and Mary is the one that gets on the end of it, puts it in the back of the net. I feel so bad for Mary because the Carlsberg is just completely blocking Mary's path into the first team. And like Mary is good enough to be in the first team on a regular basis. Oh, Mayor, beautiful clearance off the line. Mary's well capable of being in the first team week in, week out. But Carlsberg is so good that he can't. So unfortunately for Mary, on the bench at best. This Ferencváros team actually have Derek starting, and Schiller is the Hungarian, one of the Hungarian left backs. He's pretty bang average, if I'm being completely honest. The current generation of Hungarian players at the moment is exceptionally average. I would say aggressively average. There's not a huge amount of very talented players, which is quite difficult when, for some reason, the Football Association are like, oh, Mary with another one, beautiful goal. The FA are very much like, well, we expect you to do really well in everything. It's like, but apart from Sabazlai, we don't really have anyone that can actually do a huge amount. Grodem is pretty good. Internationally, well, he's acceptable internationally. But other than that, we don't have a huge amount of top players. Oh, Derek almost puts Fuskas through, trying to, do a favour for the lads. I think it's kind of ironic that, Mary with a hat trick. Barisic is one of my Hungarian goalkeepers, might I add. He has just proven to me that he will not be called up he will not be starting in the next international round of games we're going to be playing, because that was shocking. That's the problem though. The Hungarian, especially goalkeepers, Hut Wagner is really the only one that is even remotely good. And other than that, you're just kind of like, well, nobody else can really do much. Mayor is having a mare of a game, so we're going to bring on Kubista. Savic is coming off for Gilmar. Gilmar is right-footed, but I always play him as an inside forward on the right because he's just really good. And nobody's going to get ahead of Carlsberg for at least the time being. Because if you look at Edison Kuba scores against us, I'll allow it. Edison Kuba, I'm assuming he's just come off the bench because I didn't see his name in the first half. Another one of our ex-players playing for a team in our division, but we are still by far and away the best team in Hungary. Without question, Bartek finds the ball to O'Neill, finds Diaz, Kabusta. Oh, it's John O'Shea in the box, and Mandira is the one to get on the end of it. It's funny how you sign some players and you're like, this guy is going to be decent, like potentially like a backup player. And Mandira, who was in the B team when he arrived, has turned into one of our greatest players, which is quite nice. Although he's only just made it onto Mary with another one. Mary's not even that tall. Scored a header. But I think he was up against Vanderson. Vanderson's not a very tall player either. So I suppose picking battles quite well. Is that all 3 substitutions made? No, we still have one more. So we will make a change in a hot minute. Mary gets the ball taken off him. Mary's made it 6 on the night, 5 for Mary. This is why I'm telling you, Mary would make it into the first team easily of any club in the division. But because he has Carlsberg ahead of him, just can't quite do it. Do we take him off? He's going for the record. No, we're leaving him on. He's going for the record. We're going to bring on Johansson to play as we're going to bring Johansson on to be the box to box. Going to give Mark O'Neill a little bit of a rest, so he has 10 minutes to just sit down, relax, and we see how he gets on. Fuskas tried the hand of God, didn't work. Yeah, hand of God. O'Neill's going to get 10 minutes to rest before we travel to Sevilla. Thornton, shot blocked by Perez. Perez has been in pretty decent form recently, so quite happy with that. Mary with the corner to get cleared, and Thorson goes for a run. I think the game might be over. So maybe don't make our players run too much, lads. Mandira ruining Mary's day by scoring 1 goal. Mary with 5. I don't know what it is about my tactics, but in my Director of Football Journeyman series as well, my left wingers always score lots of goals, except for Bayer Leverkusen, and that was always my right winger. I'm not sure why. It's interesting. But in this game, every player that scored is involved or has been involved with Dorogi at some point. So that is, that's shown how good we are. We've shifted some players on, and they've ended up being really rather good for other teams in the division. So as I said, that puts us 20 points clear in the league. But Ujpest do have a game later today. But we will be back in just a second for the game against Sevilla. Hopefully, we can continue this pretty good run of form. So we're just about to kick off against Sevilla now. And as you can see, some of the results have been somewhat expected from the first legs. Maybe not Copenhagen beating Leipzig, but Arsenal beating Hertha, kind of. I could see it. I prefer if it was Hertha going through, because I'm a Hertha fan. I'm not a big fan of Arsenal, but we'll see what happens. I've actually selected a team this time, so we don't have to go through the whole thing of me selecting a team in front of you. But we do have injury concerns. So Fergus Riffin is injured along with Medina and Grodum. Kubista and Barreto both suspended. So we're bringing Benchig up from the second team for the game today, because we don't really have much other choice. But Perez is going to start in goal. Bartek and Bourdais as our wingbacks. Stepanenko and Getarik as our central defenders. Kwasi and Zamorano in central midfield. Gilmar and Carlsberg as our wide men. Mandira and Fuskis starting up front. Mary, after his exceptional game in the first part of this episode, isn't registered to play in the Europa League, which is probably a little bit of an oversight on my part, but that's fine. Carlsberg can step in and score hopefully 6 goals, because that would break a record for us. I'm going to outstretch my arms. No, pump my fists. Let's go cause an upset. It's motivated the majority of the players. Going to point their finger at everyone else. Keep the form going. You were excellent in the last game. I was hoping that wouldn't change the defenders and midfielders' morale thing. Body language, that's the word. I was hoping it wouldn't change how they were feeling about it, but it has, and we'll just see how we go from here. Carlsberg, early shot at goal, 3 minutes in, and it's drifted wide. It has been, I was going to say, it's been a slow start to the game. We're only 5 minutes in. 1 shot apiece. XG is quite low, as one would expect from the early part of a game. There's been games where we've gone ahead and been like dominant within the first 7 minutes. Don't think playing Sevilla is going to be one of those. Oh, Gilmar, what an absolute rocket of a shot. Ramsdale, the Sevilla goalkeeper, managed to push it over. Gilmar with the corner. Baby clears it. Bebe. Kwasi tries to get the ball across. Valentin says no. The diamond is how they ended the first leg, but they did start a lot more defensive in that one. But I suppose they're playing at home this time, so it does make some semblance of sense. Perez has pushed Mina's shot behind, kind of end to end at the moment now. After a fairly slow, quiet first 5 minutes, we started to see a little bit more attacking intent, and Kwasi gives away a free kick. I hummed and hawed about whether bringing him in for this game. It's already been booked, so let's hope that that doesn't lead to him getting sent off. That is a very much a Michael O'Neill kind of thing to do. But we seem to be the more dominant, I guess, in terms of shots. Anyway, Mandira sends the ball back to Bartek. Somebody missed their header. Fuchs heads it back to Carlsberg, and Carlsberg scores his 38th of the season. This is getting embarrassing. Is it now? I don't feel like it is. Mandira passes it to Bartek. Bartek gets it to Fuskis. Carlsberg slots it into the back of the net, and we are 1-0 up on the night, 3-0 up on aggregate, and we have an away goal. Everything is looking pretty decent. Zamorano, that was an absolute shocker of a clearance. We are very, very lucky that Sargent clattered that off the post. So we're just going to continue hanging on. Perez, not great distribution, but Jordan Henderson, who is still somehow a first team player 10 years into the future. Mandira's put that one wide. Is that Jordan Henderson? Jordan Henderson playing at right back for Sevilla at 38 years old. Fair juice to you. Pellegrini for Sevilla with the throw. Sends it forward for Sargent. The Sevilla side is very interesting. They've got some quite good players, and then they've got like Jordan Henderson playing at right back, 38 years old, on the transfer list. Sargent. This is definitely a goal anyway. Oh! Just over the bar. We're coming up on half time, and the game is very, like I said early on, end to end. They've had 5 shots, we've had 10. We've had 6 on target, they've only had 1 on target. I'm gonna point our finger and say, keep it going, lads. Gilmar's not having a great game. We haven't seen too much from our players. We've had more possession, more opportunities, but we haven't seen as much from our players, which I feel like is just the wrong way for it to be. It doesn't really make sense when we're supposedly controlling the game to have less of everything. Or, well, like we have more of everything, but less of the highlights. But it's fine. Carlsberg with a poor pass. Is that Arsenal's Wilcox? The Sevilla side is just built with random players. Mina, relatively comfortable for Perez. Could have seen that going wrong though. That is very much the ball bounces in front of the keeper, and for some reason it just like rolls past them, and they just kind of stand there looking at it like, what do you want me to do? Sargent to Mina again. Baby put Sargent through. Baby Sargent. Oh, Sargent back at the net. Only his 5th of the season. I would have thought Sargent would have had a better hit ratio than that, but it's fine. Is that? Yep. Joe Wilcox or Willock. What did I say? Wilcox? Willock. Actually playing for Sevilla. So they've basically just taken a bunch of random Premier League players, thrown them into a squad, and went, let's see what happens. Mandira with the cross doesn't get it all the way across. Bartek with the crossover. It's touched by a Sevilla defender. Fuskis manages to keep a hold of it. Gets it back to Bordet. Back to Fuskis. Was that N'Golo Kante? Have they got N'Golo Kante as well? Bastian Mina puts it in the back of the net. Right, we're going to chuck a bit of encouragement at the lads. We're going to have a look. No, Abubakar Kante. Okay, I was going to say, if N'Golo Kante was playing for them as well, that's just like Sevilla have literally just went, we'll just take all the old players, please, and thank you. Kouassi is having a poor game. We're going to bring on O'Neill to play in his position. Gilmar's coming off for Savic, because even though he wasn't playing well in the first half, he's just continued to not really play. So I'm just not going to risk having him in the team at the minute. Just take him out of it. We're going to demand more. O'Neill, first thing we've seen him do is win a header. Savic is clear, and he smashes it into the back of the net. His 9th of the season. He is really trying to win his place back in the team, because since Gilmar arrived not even so much this summer, but when he arrived last year, he was sat on the in the B team. Didn't really have like an idea what I wanted to do with him, and he's just popped into the first team this year and absolutely smashed it. Thorson is going to come on for Bartek for the final 5-ish minutes, plus whatever stoppage gets added on. Perez, not great distribution, was picked up by O'Neill, who can't find Mandira. Fuskis can't get the ball out. Sevilla do manage to get the ball clear, and Mina just puts it wide. I think that was poor decision making on their part because Perez was covering his near post quite well, and for some reason he decided to just go near post. Not the best decision making, but it's fine. I'm not going to complain. We've come out of it with a victory. Gilmer, Kouassi, Bartek all struggling in this game, but it's team effort. The rest of the team picked up their slack. Arsenal have knocked out Hertha. Atlanta have absolutely demolished AIK. Braga have gone through after extra time against Fenerbahce. Interesting. We do have the semi-final draw, so we'll be back for that in just a second. Oh, the rest of the games are finished now as well. Leicester, Rennes, PSV and Leipzig do go through. So we are going to be back in just a second for the draw. Right, fellas, so it is quarterfinal and semi-final draw today. We're not actually the team listed as the bottom team. So that's, we're doing well. So I wouldn't mind taking Braga, or I wouldn't mind Rennes. I think maybe PSV. So Braga, we'll take Braga. Yeah. They got Arsenal. Okay, so we're avoiding Arsenal. That is a good start. PSV, well, we'll take it. Leicester. Right, we take Rennes. Please, for the love of Jesus, give us Rennes. We've gotten Rennes. Fantastic. And Leipzig take on Atalanta, which isn't the worst thing in the world. PSV or Leicester? I'll take that. Fantastic. So if we beat Rennes, we take on PSV or Leicester, and then Braga or Arsenal take on Leipzig or Atalanta. So that's an interesting time. So the next episode is going to be quarterfinal against Rennes, second leg, or maybe both legs. We could even potentially win the league like around this time as well, I would imagine, because we are quite comfortably ahead of everyone else, and we do have a wrong button, youth intake, which every time I see a player from Dorogi, a Hungarian player from Dorogi, I'm like, could be a son. Hopefully it's a son. Last year I had the same, like a player caught the guy from Dorogi, and it wasn't. But this year could be, because I think I'm 38 in game now, 39. How old am I? I should be 39 in July. Yeah, 39 in July. Also got a new contract, which I forgot to mention. But yeah, we're it's not like a golden generation, but this is his last youth intake for us before we bring in a new youth intake or head of youth development, because I've found some that are quite a substantial amount better than him, and his contract expires in the not too distant future. But if you have enjoyed this episode, do make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, share with all of your friends, and I will see you in the next one.